All right, we have a quorum. The board met tonight in exec session. We're now ready to go into the public portion of our meeting. We did not have any correspondence this week. So we will dispense with that. The president's report has several components. First of all, I want to add our condolences to those of the community, to the Roberts family on the death of Rob Roberts. I think that the mayor sent out a very eloquent letter to the community, and I certainly cannot do better than that. I think Rob Roberts was a light in our Glenridge community, and the best thing we can do is help take care of his wife, Alice, who of course is one of our teachers, and his family. And each of us can carry Rob's light forward in our own life and work. So, and also I want to recognize all the other police officers and first responders, essential workers, who also take great risks every day so that we can have even the remotest semblance of real life. Next, I wanted to update you on what's going on in the Capitol in Trenton. Our Commissioner of Education, Lamont Repollet, has resigned to become president of Kane College. He will be leaving at the end of June. No replacement has been chosen. The governor has not nominated a replacement as yet. The legislature has started to resume a modified hearing schedule, starting with the appropriations committees of both houses. I'm hopeful, and everyone is hopeful, that after the 22nd, which is Friday, when the state treasurer gives an update on the state's finances, that the two houses will go to work on an appropriations bill to fund everything in the state, including education, for the period of July 1st through September 30th. At that time, we'll know how much aid we're getting for those 3 months. And once we know that, we can start to make plans. The legislature will then, the governor will give a budget speech on August 25th, and the legislature will go to work on an appropriations bill to fund everything in the state, including us, from October 1st through next June 30th. So nobody knows how much state aid we will have, how much state aid we will lose, how we'll be able to go forward. There's also no master plan for education from the state with guidelines to how we should plan for the fall. So it's a waiting game right now, and very frustrating to everyone. But that is the situation in which we find ourselves. Other states have produced voluminous guidelines for school restarting. We're very hopeful that maybe the DOE will use some of those guidelines, adapt them from New Jersey, and get something out so that we know how to go forward. And that is the president's report. Dirk, superintendent's report.
Thank you. I also want to offer my deepest condolences to the Roberts family. Last week was an emotional week for the entire community. It was heartwarming to watch how well this community stepped forward and supported Alice and the 3 children. Last Thursday's service was a more memorable event, and a well-deserved recognition of how Rob impacted this town. I think of Rob, I can always think of a story or a memory that puts a smile on my face, and I think that goes for most residents in this town. He will truly be missed. I want to give you a couple updates of where we're at and looking into the fall. As far as the end of the year activities, we do have 2 unused emergency days, and they're on the agenda tonight to be used on Friday, May 22nd, which is this Friday, and Friday, June 19th, which was the original last day of school. So that would be moved to June 18th. Because of AP exams being rescheduled, we do have some students on Friday who have to come in, roughly 30 students who have to come and take AP exams. Mr. Luller and I spoke today about that, and he's going to be reaching out to those students and make some special accommodations for them. As far as end of the year ceremonies, each building is planning the appropriate promotional ceremonies. but there will be virtual components to it. The activities that recognize their achievements, some summer plans if we're able to gather in the summer, and looking at possibly some fall activities for those end of the year field trips that were canceled. See if we can reschedule them for the fall. Again, that's all dependent if we're open during the fall. Some traditional events are happening virtually. All three elementary schools have had filled days. The high school is doing their incoming seventh grade parent orientation this week. And we're looking at doing other events since I know some events, if appropriate, will be postponed to the fall. But we're doing as much as we possibly can under the circumstances we're in. The schools are continuing to work on scheduling for next school year. Class assignments, teacher assignments are all in place. Right now, we're looking at closing out our buildings, which usually doesn't happen until the end of June. But under these circumstances, with school being closed for the remainder of the year, we're making the best of a bad situation. We have asked the teachers if they want to come in, they can come in under strict protocols. They're to wear masks, they're to wear gloves, they're to report directly to their room. We are limiting the number of teachers that are coming in the building at one time, and we're limiting the number of teachers per floor. We're holding off on the students coming in to pick up their personal items or returning school property, and we're going to determine when the most appropriate time for that to happen. As we start looking into next school year, as Betsy mentioned, there's just a lot of unknowns at this time, but we're trying to look at all the different scenarios, whether we're virtual instruction, how can we better streamline the process we're currently using, we're reviewing and looking to implement best practices. If we're going to be live instruction, what does that entail? Is it half days, split sessions? Is it a combination of live and virtual? We're looking at all the procedures to make sure we're social distancing, how the classroom's set up, how do students go from classroom to classroom in the hallways? How do we conduct emergency drills? We know when the students eventually get back, there's going to have to spend some time reintroducing them to the school system and getting them comfortable and at a place where they feel safe. And then we also need to look at where they are academically. And that's tough to do without having them in person for an assessment that is standardized and administered by the teachers. So we are working the best that we can with the limited amount of guidance we have. We are looking at other states and what they are proposing. We're looking at other countries. I have been in committee meetings, numerous committee meetings week after week, and these topics are being discussed. And we're starting to see at the state level several committees that will help hopefully provide us some guidance. As far as construction, we're the Linden Avenue and Forest Avenue were in the closeout phase where they're coming to look at the final punch list and they're handing over warranties and manuals. At Central School, we have a couple of items still just outstanding that needs to be completed, and then their closeout process. And at Ridgewood Avenue, we expect the work to be completed next week, and then we'll go through the punch list process with that contractor. So we're moving along. We're trying to take advantage of having the buildings empty and hopefully get some work that we were planning on doing this summer started a little bit earlier. That's it.
Okay. All right. We have come to the first public comment period for comments or questions on agenda items only. The rules that normally apply in our real face-to-face sessions apply here. You have a 2-minute time limit. And David Campbell, if you would be so kind as to be the timer, I would appreciate it. If you have a comment or question, go to the participants icon on the bottom of your screen, and you will see raise your hand. You can raise your hand, and we will answer your questions in the order in which they're given. Please state your name, confirm your Glenridge residency, and address your questions to us. At this time, please give your questions orally rather than using the chat function. And if you have multiple questions, please give them to us all at once, and we will try to answer them in the order that they are given. Are there any questions or comments?
Hello?
Yes. Hi.
Oh, okay. Hi, this is Charlie Breslin, Glenridge resident. And just a very first, thank you for letting us zoom in. And I think every parent really appreciates all the great work that the Glenridge School District and the teachers have done. And I think when I talk to people around the country, around the world, we're certainly doing a great job. But with that in mind, as we look towards to next year, and maybe there'll be some more remote learning, we've all had a great experience, but there's best practices like Mr. Phillips mentioned, things that worked, haven't worked, things we could do more or less. And I was just wanted to encourage the board, Mr. Phillips, to maybe host some town meetings and let parents and students and teachers maybe come together and exchange thoughts. It's very interesting when I talk to people about some ideas that I have or thoughts that I think are so obvious, they'll come back with something that they've related to, and it gives me pause to think, oh, well, now I understand, or maybe this could be tempered. I just think that it's a great, it would be a great community effort, and I appreciate the surveys you've sent, Mr. Phillips, but it's very hard to tell the whole story within it, and if either in small groups or a town, however you want, I just hope that a little bit more interaction in a nice, congenial manner. But most of all, thank you very much for all you've done.
Thanks, Charlie. Other questions or comments? Anyone?
Someone had their hand up.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I had my hand up.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Sorry, this is Jocelyn Gottlieb. I'm a Glenridge resident. I had a couple of questions related to the attachments in the exhibits. Specifically, they were about the multiple uses of the room 7 and room 14 at Linden and Forest. The first question is whether Linden's room 14 is which is currently the primary one room, is changing to a special education classroom just for kindergarten, or if that was just the way it was referred to in the application. And then the second question was related to room 7 at Forest with the student sizes of 6 to 9 for 2 parts of the space. So I guess it would be a capacity of 18. And if you could just comment as to whether that is a common size for the small reading groups and the resource room, or if that's kind of the maximum allowed.
Dirk, would you like to address that?
So the first part of that is we do have, anytime we have dual use in the classroom, it's a normal procedure for us to put in to the county for approval. Those 2 rooms traditionally have been used as dual use. That may change as we're freeing up some classroom space at Linden and Forest, but as a precaution, we just want to make sure we have that ability to use them as dual use if that's not the way they're going to work out for next school year. As far as reading groups, we want to keep them as small as possible. It really depends on the different students in there and their levels and working with their schedules. If I had to put a number on a reading level, it would probably be around 5 at most. But we do have conflicts sometimes scheduling students based on schedules and based on the levels that they are currently performing at.
Thank you. Could I ask a follow-up question?
I think you're within your 2 minutes, so please go ahead.
Mr. Phillips, could you please comment on the title for the primary one classroom at Linden? It was referred to in the application as special education kindergarten, but currently it serves students from K through 2. Some parents were just wondering whether it was going to be focused specifically on children in kindergarten or if that was just a misnomer that was in the application for the dual use.
That would be a misnomer.
Great.
We can change that up in the future.
Thanks for clarifying.
Okay, other questions or comments? Is there someone else? All right, if there are no other questions or comments, we will go on to the rest of our agenda, being mindful that there is a second public comment period at the end. You have in your packets some minutes from the last board meeting. I should say, before I say that, normally we would have committee and liaison reports at this time, being that this is the first and only meeting of the month, but I don't believe any committees have met. If anyone has something for the good of the group that is time sensitive, please let me know. Anybody on the board?
The only thing that I would mention, although I I think this has been published already, is that the GRAA is looking at working through refunds for the spring sports seasons.
Okay, I think that's timely. Many people are probably thinking about that, about sports in general and about that in particular. Anyone else have anything that is timely?
Yeah, I would just like to add that the Linden Home and School Association was still looking for people interested in being on their committees. They were looking for presidents or co-presidents, and several chair spots were open as well.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, you have in your package minutes, as I said, from the board meeting of April 27th, both exec session and regular session. Does anyone have any changes to these minutes? Changes?
No.
Okay, if that is the case, Michael, may I have a motion to move the minutes?
Yes, I'll move M1.
All right, may I have a second?
Second.
Second from David?
Yep.
Okay. Barbara, would you call the roll?
Mr. Bonnet,
Aye.
Ms. Boyle-Vellucci,
Aye.
Mr. Campbell,
Aye.
Mr. DeLu,
Aye.
Ms. Lang,
Aye.
Mr. Romano,
Oh, he might be muted.
oh, he's on mute. Mr. Romano? Yes. Ms.
Thumbs
St.
up.
Auburn,
Aye.
Dr. Yaris Ramos,
Aye.
Ms. Ginsburg.
Aye. Okay, administrative items. We have several items, policies that are up for a second reading, the revised 2019-20 school calendar, updated school health-related closure plans, and other items. Before we vote on that, Dirk, would you just give a brief explanation of the updated school health-related closure plans?
Yes, prior to going into closure in middle March, we had to submit a plan to the county. Our plan was approved, and then when the governor decided to close for the remainder of the school year, they've asked for an updated plan, and it included several different categories, such as what we're doing facility-wise, how we're providing lunches to those students who qualify for free and reduced lunch, identifying essential workers, those type of categories were added. So we've updated our plan, and we're submitting. It's located on the website if you're interested in reviewing it. So with your approval tonight, going to submit it to the county.
Okay. All right. David, would you move the administrative items?
Move A1 through A3.
All right, may I have a second?
Second.
I think I heard Paul with a second.
Michael.
I'm sorry, Michael, with a second. Is there any further discussion on any of these items? All right, Barbara, would you call the roll?
Mr. Bonnet,
Aye.
Ms. Boyle Valucci,
Aye.
Mr. Campbell,
Aye.
Mr. DeLu,
Aye.
Ms. Lang,
Aye.
Mr. Romano,
Aye.
Ms. St. Aubern,
Aye.
Dr. Yaris Ramos,
Aye.
Ms. Ginsburg.
Aye. Okay, we have some personnel items. Tracy, would you move those?
Yes, I move P1.
All right, may I have a second?
Second.
Second.
I think I heard Ally with the
Mhm.
second. Okay, in keeping with our rules, we discussed personnel-related matters in exec session. So Barbara, when you're ready, would you call the roll?
Mr. Bonnet,
Aye.
Ms. Boyle Valucci,
Aye.
Mr. Campbell,
Aye.
Mr. DeLu,
Aye.
Ms. Lang,
Aye.
Mr. Romano,
Aye.
Ms. St. Aubern,
Aye.
Dr. Yaris Ramos,
Aye.
Ms. Ginsburg.
Aye. All right, the business items. Before we move the business items, I would like to draw your attention to item B2, which is a donation from the Glenridge Education Foundation to support the virtual high school at Glenridge High School. The donation has a value of approximately $2,400. So thank you to Foundation Chair Fran Wong and the members of the foundation. I know the virtual high school program is an important part of what we do at the high school and has grown more popular as the years have gone by. So thank you to the foundation. And now, Paul, would you move business items?
Yes, I'd like to move items B1 through B10.
All right. May I have a second?
Second?
Teresa, was that you with the second?
It was.
Okay. Any discussion on any of the business items? There are quite a number of facilities-related items, also the acceptance of IDEA grant money, plus CARES emergency relief money. Any questions or comments?
Could we review the exhaust fan at Linden? Just the overview of that, just to save us some time later, potentially.
So this was for an exhaust fan system in the nurse's office toilet room at Linden Avenue School, which required significant ductwork, an exterior louver, fiberglass reinforced panel replacement into an existing window.
Okay. Anthony, do you want any clarification on that?
Nope. It's more than an exhaust fan.
Yes,
all.
that's true. It was poorly worded. I should have said system, probably, exhaust fan system.
Okay. Any other questions from the board on business items? All right, that being the case, Barbara, would you call the roll?
Mr. Bonnet,
Aye.
Ms. Boyle Valucci,
Aye.
Mr. Campbell,
Aye.
Mr. DeLu,
Aye.
Ms. Lang,
Aye.
Mr. Romano,
Aye.
Ms. St. Aubern,
Aye.
Dr. Yaris Ramos,
Aye.
Ms. Ginsburg.
Aye. All right, we've come to the second public comment period for comments on agenda or other items pertaining to the schools. The same rules apply. Again, please give your questions or comments orally rather than via the chat function. Does anyone have a question or comment?
Actually, Betsy, it's Michael. Before we do that, just quickly, I wanted to mention that GRUMPA, the Glenridge Music Parents Association, did have a meeting. I should have reported earlier in May, and they did a new slate of proposed slate of the people, the positions. So the presidents are Tracy Sullivan and Tom Eaton. The co-vice presidents are Nadine Pappas-Wilkes and Ed Kastenmeyer. And treasurer is Vince Kozlowski, and secretary is Barbara Andrews.
Okay, great. Okay. public comment. Again, we're at public comment. Same rules apply. Please raise your hand, and if you have a comment. Does anyone have a comment? Yes. Is there a comment?
I just want to make sure that I'm not missing the general public. This is only on agenda items?
No, agenda or other items.
Oh, okay. So I have a comment.
I'm sorry, your name?
Sorry, this is Shari Dreyer. I'm a Glen Ridge resident. I live on Ridgewood Avenue.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Should I go?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay. The college, talking about the AP exams. It has failed tens of thousands of students, including students in Glen Ridge. And my son was impacted by an upload failure on his AP Chem exam. It was the College Board servers. We had no internet failure. The file clip was correct. The only remedy is for him to retake the exam in June, which is unacceptable. There are other issues. I can't cover them all now. I know that the staff and administration in Glen Ridge is upset by the issues, and I lay no blame on the district. I'm here to ask the district to join with other districts to take action. College Board is adept at deflecting individual staff, students, parents, and even schools, but a coordinated effort, campaign and effort among schools would be difficult to ignore. Mrs. Ginsburg, in your position as Executive Director of the Garden State Coalition of Schools, you have connections with hundreds of school districts throughout the state that could join to advocate for all of the students who were, let's say, blanked over the last week. There is strength in numbers. Yesterday, the College Board announced new rules for technology upload fails, but they don't help students who experience failures this week. There is a remedy. Schools could certify us to the timestamp of the photos and/or the Google Drive upload. Finally, I want assurance that students who have experienced issues with the AP exams this year will not be penalized by having the weight stripped from their class grades. Students might not even receive an AP score if they aren't approved by College Board to take a makeup, have another submission failure, and/or a conflict for the makeup. Don't let the College Board continue to be unaccountable, unresponsible, and take no responsibility for their failures. You can take action to change that. You really can. And I just have so much to say about this. It's just like when Ticketmaster sells tickets and their servers fail because they're selling K-pop or Billy Joel. They are unbelievable. And I am someone who feels that standardized exams have value. I have a lot of high scores in my family. And this summer, the College Board is planning to administer at-home online SAT exams. It will affect our students in the future. Mark my word.
That's 2 minutes.
Okay, I'm done.
That's okay. I'll let Dirk speak on this, but I will reach out tomorrow to my colleagues who represent the various professional organizations, the principals, the school administrators, the school boards, et cetera, to see if there is some concerted action that we can take together. Because certainly you're right, students across the country have been challenged by the fact that the College Board had to get this whole system together in rather a hurry and clearly did not have particularly good success with parts of it. So I will certainly make that outreach and that effort, because you're right, there is strength in numbers. I can't guarantee the result, but certainly I will try. And Dirk, if you can speak about what you have discussed with John Lawler, I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, so Mr. Lawler and I spoke about the situation. Obviously, it's very disturbing and frustrating from our point of view. We understand how much of an effort the students have put through throughout the year, and this is a culminating event, and to have such complications is unfair to them. For those who are interested in retaking the test, because that's currently the only option available by college boards, our teachers will continue to work with those students to make sure they're prepared for the makeup. As far as those students, they choose not to take the makeup, we will not be holding them in any ill will, or neither will we be taking away any weighted GPA because of the issues with the college boards. As far as we view it, they took the exam and they will receive full credit as far as their GPA is concerned. I will be reaching out to the county superintendents and having a very similar discussion with them to see what I can do with my group.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I have a lot of background research and other failures that occurred, so I will reach out to the board. So I don't know if it's Dirk, just
Thanks,
I mean,
Dirk.
Mr. Phillips. I don't know who to do it, but I'll write that up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Anyone?
There's someone.
Yes. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, hi. Go ahead, please.
Hi, it's Mark Colby. I'm a Glen Ridge resident. I'm on 92 Essex Avenue. And I just wanted to say two things. One, my daughter Ashley had the same situation as Sherry's son and tens of thousands of students across the country. I want to thank Mr. Phillips, Mr. Lawler, Ms. Ginsburg, and Ms. Follett for your response to my emails. There's been a lot of press about the damage that this virus and the situation we're in has done to seniors, but no one's focusing on the juniors. This is a devastating situation for these kids who prepared for a year long and were ready for the test, and through no fault of their own, it's been dismissed. And actually, I can't even say on this call what I was told by the college board, how my daughter was jeopardized her ability to take any other college board test, and they put her at fault and shamed her, and it was just horrible. And that's why Sherry and I and other parents really believe we can all individually call, but it's got to be a concerted effort from the school districts. The college board is a multi-million-dollar business, and let's not be fooled. This is a business to them. The fact that they changed the rules halfway through is unfair, and there are many, many students who have not completed their SAT scores. What's to say that they are going to guarantee that those tests, when they come online, are not going to have the same problem? So I just want to thank you. Also, to Mr. Phillips' point, my daughter and those students now need additional tutoring, because their minds are not going to be as sharp 3 weeks from now as they were being taught and coached every day right up to that exam. So I know I was assured that Mr. Booth would work with the AP Chem students, but I think that the school district really needs to follow through on that, just to help these kids who are in a very compromised position through no fault of their own. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I should have said that I know that it isn't just a problem pertaining to seniors, that many people, many students at various grade levels who took the APs encountered difficulties. Dirk, I don't know if you have any further comments on that, but certainly we will all be working on this for the benefit of our students.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement with you. It's been frustrating, and we will do what we can to help get them to the next level, wherever they want to be. If they want to make that up, or they decide not to, we're going to support their decision.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Other questions or comments? Do we see anyone? Okay. If that is the case and there are no other questions or comments, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Moved by David. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, that sounded like Ally.
Heather.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Yes.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.